If you are feeling this movement in your life where you feel like you have kind of isolated yourself from activities and functions and people, baby, you are moving towards the evolutionary moment of change. So very random, but for the last 2 weeks, this has been on my mind, and I was trying to think of a concept to how to make this video and all of this other stuff, but I've learned that sometimes spontaneous and unplanning is beautiful. I was thinking about change and how we, come into this metamorphosis and become this better version of ourselves, but how difficult change is and how scary it is as well. I started to think about, when we think about change, how it is always visualized as something positive, moving on to the next level and obtaining, different things, blessings and knowledge, experience, wisdom, right? And change. But the fear of not knowing what change looks like, because it can't be measured, it can't be seen, it can't be foreshadowed. We can think about what we want change to look like, but we don't have a concrete answer of what change will be to us until we get there. And the fear of change scares a lot of people who've always been themselves or that way for a very long time, accustomed to a lot of negative things that brought about what they deem as their behavior or their personality. And let's be honest, change is also scary because we've heard of this many times. When you change and you move from one place to the other, some people will stay and other people will go. Change will bring about so many different things about you. Number one, the way that you look at yourself and the way that people treat you. Many times, a lot of people are dealing with not having any boundaries in change, and growing up with wisdom and maturity and just self-assessment and understanding that not having boundaries allowed what came afterwards, failed relationships, failed marriages, failed connections with family members and people, even a failed you. It changes the dynamic of the relationship that you have with that person that you consider someone close to you. Maybe you don't want to do the things that you used to do. You don't go to places you used to go. You don't want to talk about the same things. Change just brought you up a step. Doesn't mean you're better than the next person, but sometimes with change, we are no longer interested in the same things. And that causes a disruption in friendships, because the person who doesn't honor your change and understand your change and see change as a beautiful elevation will often take it personal and withdraw. Change can also allow you to see yourself whole instead of fractured. When I think of fractured, I think of a tear where something is still intact, and when we are fractured, we're still intact, just parts of us are broken. When you're in a situation where you have been fractured, and change, the evolution of change, makes you love yourself deeper, makes you look at yourself differently. Change allows you to just see who you are, how beautiful you are, how whole you can be, and not allow people to hurt you. And in the change of moving towards something that is bigger and higher than you, and really wanting to live life just as straight and narrow as you can, your heart becomes convicted. I think about how slowly the progression of change is, that you'll never be perfect, but you'll get to the place where you're better. And you'll begin to implement and grab onto things that makes you a more healed and whole you, Also, when I think about change, I think about the altering of the physical and what it looks like when you have an internal change. You ever had someone to tell you, or a friend or someone you are shining, you are radiating. Your skin looks different. Your whole aura is different. Your energy is different. You look different. Because something about change in the most positive aspect brings out the sunshine in you. You glow differently, and you see the happiness on the outside, and you know that it's in the inside. Change brings about even a physical change and aspect in us. If you are feeling this movement in your life where you feel like you have kind of isolated yourself from activities and functions and people, baby, you are moving towards the evolutionary moment of change. Were you tired of partying, if that's your thing, or going out with friends who like to, whatever, and it just don't do it for you? But I want to forewarn you about change as well. Change in the beginning stages are crucial, and it's the hardest part, because this is the beginning era where you ain't too sure about nothing, and you don't know where you're going and how you're going to maneuver through this path. And this is the moment where you begin to exercise what works for you. When we spoke of boundaries in the beginning, when it comes to change, now you got to exercise boundaries with people who don't know this part of you, who want you to show up and be who you used to be. In the beginning stages, now you got to work with how you looking at yourself and how you love you. There are going to be moments where you question, what am I doing this for? Or how is this going to change me? What is this going to look like? Am I going to even like the new me? Change is the most beautiful process when done right. Don't rush into change. And even when I think about it, right, I don't even think you can. So I'll take that back. Don't rush the change. How about that? Don't seek something so fast that you don't give it time to do what it does and envelop, because you can't change and be false with it, right? You ever heard someone say, I done changed, and they still be doing the same type of stuff that they did, and they ain't changed because it's a temporary thing? When change is permanent, baby, you live it every single day of your life. Change will have you loving yourself more, wanting to learn more. And if your road is getting closer to God, oh my God, that change is beautiful. It's random. I thought about it for 2 weeks. It had been on my mind. I started writing things in my journal. I talked about the change that I've seen in other people and myself, and how beautiful it has been for me. I don't know, I just felt like I need to pass that along for someone who is going through the motions and don't know what this will look like. I promise that when you begin to alter and change and metamorphosize, people are going to tell you just how bright and glowy you really are. And you're going to love that part of you. So let's not be afraid of change. Let's embrace it. Let's love on it. And let's see it through. That's my message for today. All right, bye.